Welcome everybody. How are you doing today? It's so very nice to have you here. And today I wanted to speak about our upcoming 2-week intensive in December 15th and 22nd. Decide for freedom now. Tenderness and choosing truth in today's world. We are doing just a 2-week intensive this time because of the holidays, and I really hope that everybody can come. It's so nice if we can sit together in Satsang around the holidays when there's so much going on for people, so much going on externally with planning and other things, family and so on, but also so much going on internally. Holidays can bring up a lot of things for everybody. So we will be focusing on a lot of things, but today I want to speak a little more about tenderness and its role in our ability to be here and in awakening. I don't know if you realize, if you ever thought about this, that whatever conditioning we have, and by conditioning I mean, in this case, what stops us from being present. Whatever conditioning we have acquired already, in this sense, what stops us from being present. Once we come to the spiritual search, to the spiritual path, we are going to obviously, naturally bring that conditioning with us as well. So if there's any tendency to judge, to reject, to deny, to not to respect what arises within you. And sometimes that conditioning goes generations upon generations, ancestral, collectively, for a very long time, that rejection of what is. And sometimes that manifests initially as a judgment of others, judgment of others, judgment of the world, judgment of what's happening around you. But then eventually you realize, that judgment really lives within. So if we already have had that conditioning, I want to tell you from my own experience, even awakening doesn't always resolve that, right? Even awakening is not necessarily going to resolve that. So that's when tenderness comes in, and tenderness, kindness, openness, it can be also misunderstood. It can be misunderstood as, somebody that is tender or kind and anything goes, everything is okay, but not in a real deep spiritual way of okayness, but just, doesn't care, it's all fine. But that's not what tenderness is. Tenderness is really the quality of being in a way that allows for everything to simply be here just the way it is. I'm going to say that again. Tenderness is a quality of being, an openness in your heart that allows for everything to be here just the way it is. Just the way it is. And that's what's so powerful about tenderness. And that is why tenderness is essential to our ability to be here. To awakening also, because sometimes we have this misunderstanding, that if we get a hold of spiritual concepts, we can bypass what is here. We can just kind of, jump over, and we can just kind of move into a more spiritual mindset. But I want to tell you, everything is spiritual. And if we are not able to be present to what is, then that is going to come up at some point again. And that is going to take our attention away from being here. Lifetimes can go by, or lifetimes can get started from an inability to be present to what is. So I want to invite you to join me in this 2-week intensive where tenderness is going to be one of the many topics that we're going to speak about. And right now, I also want to invite you in this moment. If there's anything in your life right now, in what arises within you, in what arises with your family, friends, in what arises in the bigger world, out there, politically, climate change, anything that affects you at this moment, take a moment right now. Notice on the level of sensation, how does it affect you? When that is present, that is so difficult to be tender with or kind with. What kind of physical experience is that? And can you soften your attention around that experience and allow yourself, just for this moment, with kindness, with tenderness to the very end. That's what Papaji told me in a dream. To the very end means until it's all resolved and settled. Until. So I'm very much looking forward to our time together. I also want to ask you to please subscribe and share and comment. That really is helping us to share this message with more people, make it more visible. I really appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to meeting with you soon.